Welcome along to Point Blank Music School here in London, where today we're joined by DJ producer and label boss Ikonika. Ikonika's had releases on the likes of Planet Mu, Hyperdub, Night Slugs, Lucky Me, and of course her own Hum+Buzz imprint that she co-runs with Optimum, who we also welcomed to the studio fairly recently. We're here to get a bit of an insight into her track I Make Lists, which was released on Hum+Buzz and is out to buy right now. We're going to get a bit of an insight into how she works in the studio and some of the production techniques that she uses in Logic Pro. Welcome along. Thanks for coming down, first of all.
Thank you for having me.
Cool. So before we get into the track itself, I just wanted to ask about how you originally got into making music, really, kind of what started it for you?
I think it was just a little bit after my band broke up. I was in a metal and hardcore band, with a few of those, playing the drums. It was just kind of hard to have everyone on the same level. So I kind of decided I might try production because I could do it by myself. It's a very solo thing to do, very personal thing to do. And at that time I kind of stopped listening to that kind of music and was listening more to back to hip hop, like Jay Dilla's stuff and like Madlib and like just general stuff that was on like Stones Throw and that kind of stuff, like backpacking stuff. And then like wanting to kind of produce these kind of hip hop instrumentals, and so I got hold of Fruity Loops and tried my hand on that, and then kind of discovered dubstep for the first time. Right. And started going to nights like Forward and DMZ and getting really kind of influenced by that sound and that vibe and that scene, the community vibe of it all, and wanted to kind of be a part of it somehow. So I started making those kind of tunes, and it was nice because like I found out that Scream was using Fruity Loops as well, and the sound was from London, so it made me, that was like a little incentive for me to start making that kind of music.
You get to feel a bit of a part of something.
Yeah, totally. And although my tracks weren't really kind of like traditional dubstep sounding, they were, you know, at that kind of BPM, and had, you know, some sort of bass going on.
The sonic palette was kind of there.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. And I just kind of got into it more and more and started buying records and trying to mix those.
So production came a bit before that then?
Yeah, a tiny bit, but it was like generally kind of hand in hand. It was like it was two, you know, things at the same time, although very different, but yeah, it was all part of the culture.
And so to go from those early days, what kind of time period are we talking where you started making kind of electronic stuff?
2005, 2006. I think it was 2007 where I started to get a little bit serious, and I started to kind of wanted to develop my own kind of sound. And then I just started sending tunes around, and Code 9, who runs Hyperdub, kind of liked them. And it just kind of went from there really, and I released my debut single with them in 2008.
And to take it up till now, obviously you're using Logic. How long have you been on that software?
I changed from Fruity Loops to Logic around 2009 when I started making my debut album. Okay. That came out in 2010. So it was kind of this kind of rush to kind of translate it all and kind of adapt to it a little bit, but I'm very happy with it now. I'm kind of glad I made that kind of that change. Although I miss Fruity Loops with their sequencer. It's very easy to just kind of make those kind of just instant kind of beats. And you can kind of see where like grime came from. Definitely. Just like mucking around with those kind of things and just like really simple samples and that kind of stuff. And I miss the arpeggiator on Fruity Loops, which is probably why I don't use that many bleeps anymore in my music. But yeah, I love Logic for it's good with audio. It's got good EQing. I love the automation. yeah, and just the general kind of polished sound.
And is it something where you tend to work like in the box within Logic?
Yeah, it's kind of for this particular track, yes. And there's a few kind of samples, like a lot of kind of Dilla snares.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, most of it on this track is from Logic. But I do it kind of depends on how I feel. Like, to be honest, I started this track thinking nothing of it, and I was just trying to make a few like funny noises and stuff like that, and then it just got a bit out of hand, and I ended up making a tune that night. But yeah, I used like some drum machines, some hardware synths, analog synths, but you know, it just depends on a tune and what I want to kind of jam on or whatever, you know.
So you don't have like, I mean, when you do come to make music when you're in the studio, do you have like a set approach, the way you kind of start something off?
I kind of did before, but now it's just kind of out the window. It's just like, just do whatever you want. There shouldn't really be any rules, although I kind of tried to have my own formula beforehand, but now I'm just like, you know, I don't really care, really.
So whatever comes to mind.
Yeah, totally. I mean, if I like one particular synth, like for this release there's like 6 tracks. I Make Bliss is the lead track, and I use the same trance synth line on all of the tracks. So I don't know, it's just all full of contradictions and whatever. Do you know?
So with this one you didn't really have like you didn't sit down and think I want to make XYZ.
Sure, yeah, it just kind of happened, and I was just kind of, it was like one of the first tracks of this kind of palette. Like if you listen to the EP, there's like a distinct kind of sound and a theme and a vibe, and this was like one of the first tracks that I made with this kind of palette. Which I guess kind of spawns into the rest a little bit, right? Yeah, a little bit, yeah. It kind of gave birth to the rest of the other tracks. Cool, so let's take a look, if you want to dive in. Yeah, I started a track with kind of these toms, just trying to get like a little simple groove going, and then kind of added little noise. And what do you tend to use? Is that like using Ultra Beat or something? Yeah, this is all Ultra Beat. It's like the broken beat preset. Okay. Yeah, I don't mind using presets too much. I mean, I use like different ones just to get the different kind of sounds out of them. The kick is the deep house kick. It's what you do with it at the end of the day. Yeah, totally, yeah. The only thing that I use that, well, not even from myself, are the snares, which were like from a Dilla kind of pack that I got for free somewhere. And the hi-hats, I don't know where I got the hi-hats from. I think they were just some of my favourite ones that I just collected and then just gathered them all into EXS. The bass line, the initial bass line is, it was a preset, and it was actually a bell. Right. That I kind of just mucked around with. You can hear it here. And then just added a little sub underneath to give it some weight. So I've got like a mid bass and then the sub. Maybe I should go back to the beginning, because there's like, I've got the intro that's 33 bars, but there's a bit of automation going on. This looks a bit like random, but it's only because I copied and pasted it. So it looks a bit kind of messy, but and that is with the EQ just kind of just rolling around, not doing much, but it's kind of giving the track some movement. And is that you tend to automate as you go, or do you kind of get a structure down? And then kind of get a structure down first. I usually work in like with 16 bars. And just go bit by bit, or just arrange it first so I can see. I kind of cheat because I'm like, okay, like I'll arrange it and then I'll be like, okay, cool. Yeah, it's 5 minutes, that's a track done. And all I need to do is just do all the little tweaks in between and make it interesting somewhere. It just makes me want to, like, it makes me feel like I've nearly completed the track. Because there's been many times where I've just been stuck on 33 bars and I'm just listening to this loop for like a whole day. There, whereas if I can arrange it, then I can just like mess around with like whatever, just like change like a few kick notes or change bass notes or whatever. In this case, the automation kind of leads the track. Bring it down here. See where the hi-hats are being automated, and I've used a bit crusher. It just kind of makes a nice kind of build up, a little bit of a drop. Even though I don't really like drops, but it's kind of nice to have it kind of progressing like that at the start.
It keeps it moving, definitely.
Yeah, totally. And like, yeah, I've just been doing a down sampling on there. And then the tune kind of comes in now. And there I've just used a little reverse snare.
Okay.
If it wants to come in. Yeah. And the way I've did that is just, instead of bouncing the audio and reversing it, I've gone into space design and reversed it there.
Okay.
Take the dry off, pump the reverb up, and then kind of mess around with like.
So that's like 100% wet then, isn't it?
Basically, yeah. So, you know, if the dry was on. Well, you got the reverb on there, but and the dry, but if you take the dry out, it's just a.
Yeah.
It's a nice kind of.
Makes a change from the reverse crash or
yeah, because
I guess.
I had a problem with Logic. I don't know if it's like a bug in Logic 8, but I would like bounce a little bit and reverse it, but then it would get confused and kind of reverse the whole of the thing. So that was kind of my way to deal with it. But it's a nicer way because then you don't have to bounce audio. And save on your CPU, I suppose. Yeah. Oh. Sorry, I must say that I'm not very good at using a laptop because I use my iMac at home. Yeah, these bits. Everyone thinks that's like me, but
yeah.
I think I just downloaded it off like Freesound or something.
Okay, yeah.
I did try to get like my microphone going and trying to cough, but I'm really bad at recording through mics.
Yeah.
And well, I should get a decent mic. Mine's just like some £20 thing from Argos. So, for me, it was just easier to.
I mean, Freesound's an amazing tool.
Yeah, like I just typed in coughs. Yeah. And I got a cough, and I kind of knew I wanted to do a cough because, I know it kind of reminded me of like there's this hardcore band called Norma Jean, and they're kind of a scream band.
Right.
And for one of their drops, they just had the vocalist go, and I just thought that was kind of cool, so I stole it off them, basically, which is what production's all about, really. So yeah, then you.
How about the kind of lead synth lines?
Yeah. God, that sounds awful. Yeah.
What is that? Your own patch?
No, of course not. Obviously some preset, I can't remember where it came from, but it's somewhere in ES2 and I just renamed it Trance Vibes in it. And just kind of mucked around with it somewhere, not much, and then just added like a flanger and a reverb and a little delay. But yeah, it's a very long kind of lead, 16 bars.
Yeah.
And I can't actually play keys properly. But it kind of looks like I played it for like 16
I mean,
bars.
you say you don't play keys, but a lot of your stuff is really kind of melodic, like it's driven by a melody.
Yeah, when I do write, I kind of muck around just using the keyboard. And I just kind of just try and find like nice letters.
Yeah.
and yeah, just kind of muck around. Like I'll get like, I think the way I made this is, I took it bit by bit, so it was all kind of chopped up. So I think I did like, I just did it bit by bit, and I did play it, and then obviously I quantized it. But then, you know, it was all, the way I did it was all kind of, it looked like that before.
In parts,
yeah. It was all in parts, and then I just glued it together to make it look like I'm clever.
And are those melodies, is that something you do tend to play in and then kind of muck around with the MIDI?
Yeah, because with MIDI you can just, if you quantize it and it quantizes it wrong, you end up getting a different groove with it, which is quite nice, and it's a nice surprise, and it's nice to use the quantize like that, like, you know, okay computer, if you want me to do that, that's cool. Oh yeah, thanks computer for that, you know, advice. I don't know if I could ever like record like from hardware, from stuff that isn't MIDI. I think it would just probably drive me insane, and I'll be forever warping it. It's kind of weird because I like everything to be quite like straight and tidy, and I mean with these color codes, they're
it's a pretty neat project.
Yeah, I kind of like to choose colours that I think will go as well. Although this is kind of
so it gives a bit of a visual thing for you.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, it doesn't look. I mean, I can understand it. It's kind of showing me where I've made changes.
Right.
And you can imagine that, like, all right, this like purple bit was what I first done, and then I made like another purple bit, and then like here you can see that something else is going to happen, and that's more like the breakdown, the outro, and obviously the intro. But yeah, like I kind of rotate loads of tracks. I like to kind of change the channel, I suppose. So it's good to have like these colours here, so that I can go back to it like 3 months later or whatever and be like, oh, I can see what I was trying to do. It's like you're doing, like, you can see the working out, you can see the, like, where I was kind of trying to go with it. And you can see, like, these ones I haven't coloured because they were probably, like, the last ones I did of the track, or this bit of audio that's still the normal Logic Blue stock. But yeah, that's it. I mean, this track's pretty simple, it's just 16 bars, bass and drums, and then 60 bars with the lead synth, and then it repeats, and then it repeats, and then I have an outro. But obviously there's like little changes in there, just changes here. Probably just like one extra note somewhere, or a disjointed note or groove.
And that's the sub, right? That's the bass.
Yeah, the bass, the mid bass, and the sub.
What do you tend to make your sub bass with? Do you tend to?
Yeah, this sub I was actually pretty happy with, and I use it quite a lot now. List sub, but yeah, it's just ES2, and it's literally just their sine bass. Yeah, it's just a sine wave's a sine wave to me, and I've compressed it a little bit, EQ'd it. Cut all these frequencies out. All I need is the sub, so it's just for the weight. People at home won't be able to hear that, but you can see it.
Get your headphones on.
Yeah, put your headphones on. Yeah. So I've got the sub, the real sub-low sub, and I've got the mid, and for me that's kind of essential, especially if I'm DJing and a lot of these clubs don't have a very good sound system, so it's kind of nice to have all of that kind of present. So if I do play on a really good sound system, you could feel the sub, you can hear the sub, and the sub's got some overdrive on it as well, just to give it some presence, so that you can actually hear it as well as feel it. The kick.
Do you sidechain the kick to the bass of the kick?
No. Can't bother for that. Yeah, the kick's quite hard as well. I mean, the track in general is quite a heavy track on the bottom end. The kick, if you want to see the EQ, has a lot of presence. Don't ask me what I'm doing, but yeah, I'm just cutting off a bit here for the sub to make room for the sub. I actually EQ this with my headphones because I wanted that detail, and I wanted to kind of hear the exact moment where you lose the kind of tail end of it, and when it stops whatever. So that's a good trick as well. Like if you want to do your mix downs, like you got your monitors, but use your headphones as well.
Your reference on the headphones as well.
Yeah, and in Serato as well. Serato.
Okay.
It's good kind of. Serato gives you colours,
right?
Which for someone like me who doesn't really understand hertz or whatever, it's nice to understand that red means bassy, pink means nice bass, white means no, and green is cool with a bit of yellow. So
that's a very visual way to look at it.
Yeah, that kind of helps me with mix downs, especially if I want to play like a demo track out. It gives me an understanding of like. Just like if I want to home master something before I send it off for mastering, I want to make sure that I'm kind of limiting the whole track, kind of all right next to a master track. And the colours kind of help me, you know. Is
that something you do quite a lot then, like take a track to the club just to road test it? Yeah,
a little bit, yeah. But I can immediately tell these days if I look at it in Serato, that's going to sound good.
And what about for like crowd reaction? Is that something you do?
Oh, I don't care about that. So after the first kind of appearance of the lead, goes into another kind of like a mini kind of breakdown, I suppose, little bridge. Automation with the high cut frequency on the mid bass. You can watch it move. Yeah, I kind of like that kind of little sound it made.
Yeah.
Using the EQ as like a filter.
The kind of fast cut.
Yeah, when it goes vroom.
Yeah.
It's very sci-fi. God, like digital looks so funny, doesn't it? Yeah. And after that we go to another lead. Just repeating itself. Yeah. Repetition is good apparently. Little drop, little silence. I've also introduced like some layers to the snare, and it's just pitch down with the tune. And I also think I've got something going on with the hi-hats. Some automation on that. Yes. Yeah, tune again.
Okay, yeah.
Sorry, wrong one. Melodic hi-hats.
Yeah. That's really nice to get the movement in there. Right?
Yeah, totally. You know, when you just cut up the beat a little bit.
Yeah.
And then happens again. So you can hear it all.
And that's just within the EXS, right?
Yeah, totally. Just, automating it through there.
Yeah.
And the doodahs there. The bass is constantly cutting the highs and stuff. It looks a bit messy, but it works.
Yeah.
And I think I have another one of those kind of reverse snares coming in over here. I think I tried to do a pan, but you can't really notice it. Like I tried to make it swish from one side to the other, but I'm not very good at that.
Yeah. I think sometimes in clubs it doesn't really come through that well either.
Just on headphones, I suppose.
Yeah. Also, what about talking about the visual again, the red section? You must have a change going on there or something.
Yeah, there is. Yeah, there's a groove change. So So the new one would be... Dun, dun,
Okay.
dun, dun, dun. And the normal one would be... So yeah, again, that was just for me to say, you've made a change there. Don't copy and paste it without knowing. So that comes in again, reverse snares, yep, and then we have like the breakdown before the outro. It's just the lead on its own, a couple of percussions, and then a kick. I'm really noticing how out of tune this tune is. Your monitors. I've got like, just some filtering going on with the trance synth. And into the outro.
How about that extra kind of synth coming in?
Yeah, it's the same synth sound. And it's like a 2-chord thing.
Yeah.
But it's nice because oh, cool, more things. It's kind of nice because it goes really well with this little new lead that appears.
Yeah, so
Just
kind of like a haunting kind of noise.
Yeah. And the lead again. I think there's some panning going on. Don't know if I took it out. Oh, just some low cuts. Yeah, there's panning on there. I think because of... I can't even notice it. Like I said, I'm not very good at panning. Optimum's good at panning. The end.
And how about like the mix process for you? Is that something where you kind of have a structure in place that you're happy with and then come to think about mixing it, or do you kind of do it as you go?
Yeah, definitely do it as you go. And this tune was great because, well, I've taken it off now because of mastering, but I did have like a home mastering that I did to play out on Serato. But generally for like readying a track to be released and to be given to the mastering engineer, I tend to have my kicks. I use my kicks. I like to have them about -10, -11.
Okay, yeah.
And I'll start with the kick because that's like the one, the most volume. And then I would mix down the sub or the bass.
And you use the kick as the reference throughout.
That's right, yeah. And then if I do that, then usually the whole track comes in at like, I mean, I put the volume down here because why not?
Yeah.
Just make sure everything's about 3 to 2.
You're giving the engineer enough room to work with.
Exactly, and that's it really. And then, I just think once you've got your kicks and your sub down, everything else is cool. Hi-hats, I like to cut out around here. Just because when you cut to vinyl, get that high res and sometimes it distorts. And you can't hear it on the digital, but for some strange reason, when you press it on vinyl, like I've had a couple of tracks that have been released and I'm just like, oh, what is that noise? And it's the hi-hats.
Right.
And so that's why I cut it off, And I don't like them too sharp as well.
Yeah, I do know what you mean, definitely.
Yeah, I think that's more or less it, really.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, once you get your drums sorted and your hi-hats, everything else you can do.
And when you do do you have like a mastering chain that you go to?
Yeah, usually, but I didn't really do it for this track. Usually with the kicks, especially. Yeah, this is kind of right actually. I do compress to get the volume out of it, and then I do a little EQ to cut some stuff or boost some stuff, and then I limit it just to kind of tame the volume. I don't like to kind of go overboard, and to be honest, I don't really know what I'm doing, but this chain for me seems to work in that order.
As long as it sounds good.
That's right, yeah. Yeah, you kind of have to use, like, for me, if you want to use compression or limiter, treat it as like an effect. Don't treat it as like a tool that will save your mix. It's, you know, it's just like any other effect, in my opinion. Really. Yeah. So I kind of use it like that. I mean, it's not much. Like, most of the time I hardly touch any of it, but to have it there, it works. We'll even use the presets, nothing wrong with it. Yeah, just do what you want, I suppose.
Yeah.
Just make sure it's not too loud.
Yeah.
Because that's a real problem with when you get tracks being sent to you. And like, again, with the Serato colours, I'll load it up into Serato and I'll be like, I can't play that, sorry. You know? Or I kind of do my own little EQ.
So be conservative.
Yeah, I suppose, yeah. And like, for ages I was really scared to like move the master volume. Like, I always thought it had to be on 0. It probably does, but I'm fine with it like that.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty happy with my mixes these days.
And is that something you do like at home on monitors? You have a kind of setup that you do, or do you go elsewhere? You go to a studio? No,
at home. Check on headphones. Check on the iPod. Check at my mum's car.
Car's always a big one.
Cars are they're the best, really. Yeah, and just pump it up in the car. I mean, if it sounds good on your mum's car, it should sound good everywhere else. So yeah, obviously in clubs, sound checks are great for that. That's more or less it, really. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, if you want to wrap up there.
Sure. Yeah.
I mean, many thanks for coming down.
Yeah, thank you.
Obviously, for everybody at home, the track I Make Lists is out now on the I Make Lists EP on Hum+Buzz, so you can go and get that for yourselves right now. So yeah, big thank you to Ikonika for coming down to the studio. And if you do want to kind of keep up to date with these studio sessions and everything else going on, then make sure you head over to the Point Blank Facebook page and the YouTube channel as well. And that's it here from us, and we'll see you again very, very soon. Thanks for watching.